Welcome to the most exciting coin discovery of your life. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and ultra-rare bicentennial coins, an ordinary-looking coin with the power to make you a millionaire overnight. If you've got this hidden gem in your pocket, your entire future could change in an instant. Let's unlock the secrets behind this legendary piece of treasure. When we talk about the 1919 Standing Liberty Quarter, we are not just talking about a piece of metal. We are talking about a tangible fragment of American history that walked through the Roaring '20s, survived the Great Depression, and now sits in the hands of collectors as evidence of both artistry and enduring cultural resonance. Originally released just 3 years after this design first debuted in 1916, the 1919 Standing Liberty Quarter represents one of the earliest circulating coins in U.S. decimal currency that Americans used every single day. Unlike earlier colonial and continental money, which were either foreign coins or assorted tokens, this coin was part of a unified, standardized decimal system born from the foundational vision of the U.S. Mint, an embodiment of economic unity and democratic access to money. Its design, featuring Lady Liberty, striding confidently forward with a shield in one hand and an olive branch in the other, symbolizes the protective strength and peaceful aspirations of a post-World War I America. This iconic imagery resonates even when the coin is in rough, very dirty condition, because the story it tells transcends surface wear and tarnish. The historical background of the Standing Liberty Quarter is essential for understanding why even worn examples attract interest and value. Created by sculptor Herman McNeil, the Standing Liberty design replaced the barber quarter that had circulated for nearly 25 years. McNeil's piece was meant to project a more modern, dynamic vision of liberty, stepping forward rather than standing passively. In 1919, the United States was in the process of shifting from a wartime economy to peacetime growth, and coins like the Standing Liberty Quarter circulated widely in everyday commerce. The very fact that a 1919 quarter saw hands in diners, theaters, markets, and factories across the nation gives it a human story that no pristine, untouched specimen could ever truly capture. For numismatists and history lovers alike, even a dirty, worn quarter is a connection to the tactile rhythms of everyday life in a century gone by. Most collectors know that the Standing Liberty Quarters were struck in a 90% silver alloy, and that silver content underpins much of their long-term value. While some discussions sometimes confuse the metal makeup with other coinage, the 1919 quarter is firmly in the high silver category, making it inherently valuable for its metal alone, a baseline value that rises when numismatic interest is factored in. The wear on a dirty or heavily circulated coin may obscure details, but the weight and feel of that solid silver piece resonate with collectors who understand that beneath grime and oxidation lies precious metal content that has real, salvageable worth. Even in very poor condition, where the design's fine lines and features are nearly illegible, the physical substance of the coin remains a compelling reason for enthusiasts to seek it out. One aspect that makes the 1919 issue especially desirable is its relative rarity in higher grades compared to the huge number of coins that were lost, melted, or simply worn down beyond recognition over the decades. While collectors strive for examples in very fine, or even extremely fine condition, a genuinely circulated coin with deep, where can sometimes be a rare window into ordinary transactions of the early 20th century. Thus, the existence of worn, dirty examples actually tells a story of everyday economic life, coins that genuinely serve their purpose. This paradox of rarity, where both well-preserved and heavily circulated pieces are sought after for different reasons, fuels a robust market and keeps demand consistently high. Current market values for a 1919 Standing Liberty Quarter in very poor to heavily worn condition vary significantly, with many pieces trading in auction houses, shows, and online platforms for values ranging from approximately $1,000 at the low end to well over $9,000 or more when factors like historical provenance, eye appeal despite wear, and collector interest converge. These numbers can rise even higher when the coin has verifiable provenance or is part of an important collection. Because silver prices fluctuate, the underlying metal value also sets a floor that tends to rise over time. Yet it is the coin's numismatic story, not just its metal, that pushes prices into the thousands, particularly when seasoned collectors recognize a rare die variety or a subtle detail that survived decades of circulation. For those considering collecting or investing in the 1919 Standing Liberty Quarter, understanding condition, certification, and grading standards is critical. Coins that appear dirty or worn should ideally be evaluated by professional services, such as PCGS or NGC, which can assign an official grade and protect authenticity, factors that strongly influence market value. Aspiring collectors should educate themselves on grading criteria like surface preservation, strike quality, and the presence of unique characteristics. Joining numismatic communities, both online forums and local coin clubs, provides invaluable insights, access to auctions and trades, and guidance from experienced collectors who can help distinguish between a common worn example and one that might be undervalued. These relationships often prove as valuable as the coins themselves, offering education, historical context, and lifelong passion. Beyond purely monetary considerations, the cultural symbolism of the Standing Liberty Quarter elevates its appeal to a broader audience. It embodies ideals of freedom, progress, and resilience that resonate not only within the United States, but among international collectors who view American coinage as a reflection of 20th century global influence. For many, owning any example, even a worn, dirty one, is akin to preserving a piece of cultural heritage. The coin becomes a catalyst for storytelling, linking generations who might share memories of grandparents carrying similar coins in pockets or purses. This narrative quality enriches the coin's value in ways that transcend simple economics. Finally, when we reflect on the long-term investment potential of a 1919 Standing Liberty Quarter, it is clear that its value is not merely an artifact of current collector trends, but part of a broader trajectory of appreciation rooted in scarcity, historical significance, and enduring demand. As silver remains a sought-after commodity, and as interest in classic American coinage grows both domestically and internationally, well-documented examples in any condition continue to appreciate over time. For those willing to look beyond surface wear and understand the deeper stories coins like the 1919 quarter tell, this humble piece of silver can become not just an investment, but a cherished link to the economic and cultural journey of a nation.
The story of a 1920 Standing Liberty Quarter dollar begins in a period of transformation in American coinage, where artistry and symbolism were just as important as monetary value. Designed by sculptor Herman A. McNeil, the Standing Liberty series was introduced in 1916 to replace the Barber Quarter, embodying themes of liberty and national identity during a time when the United States was increasingly involved on the world stage. On the obverse, you see liberty in flowing robes, shield raised protectively in one hand and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing the balance of strength and peace. On the reverse, an eagle is captured in mid-flight, a motif intended to express American vigilance and aspiration. While most of us think of coins as simple currency, this quarter was meant to be a miniature work of art that reflected the spirit of the nation. The year 1920 is especially significant because it stands at the crossroads of two important eras in U.S. coinage. The Standing Liberty Quarter itself was among the first U.S. coins struck after the dislocations of World War I, a time when silver and copper supplies were under pressure and minting priorities were shifting. Although these coins were produced in relatively higher numbers in earlier years like 1916 and 1917, by 1920 production had slowed and surviving examples became harder to find. While numismatists often prize higher-grade coins for their full detail and luster, there is a compelling story in those that have seen much more of life. Coins that are darkened, worn, and captured the hands of countless spenders before collectors began paying attention. When we talk about a 1920 standing Liberty quarter that's very dirty, we're describing a coin that has endured decades of circulation, oxidation, grime buildup, and handling. To the casual observer, it might look unattractive, perhaps darkened, scratched, and far from mint state beauty. But to a seasoned collector, this condition speaks to authenticity and history. These coins were made primarily of 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them the distinct heavier feel and a surface that reacts to environmental conditions over time. The copper content, often overlooked, plays a role in how these coins age, producing tones and patinas that collectors sometimes value precisely because they tell a story no pristine coin can. Despite, or sometimes because of, the wear and surface dirt, many collectors find deep appeal in 1920 quarters that are far from spotless. Even in low or poor condition, a genuine 1920 example holds intrinsic value well above face value due to scarcity. In the current collector market, a very worn 1920 quarter can fetch anywhere from roughly $1,000 at the low end to upwards of $9,000 or more, depending on how visible the date and key details remain. These ranges fluctuate over time because of market demand, silver values, and collector interest. What once might have languished in pocket change or forgotten in a drawer now commands attention because there simply aren't as many survivors as there once were. Market demand for early 20th century U.S. coins has only grown stronger in recent years, driven by both nostalgia and investment interest. Coins like the 1920 standing Liberty quarter appeal to a broad spectrum of enthusiasts, from history buffs fascinated by the coin's artistic symbolism to investors seeking tangible assets with potential long-term appreciation. Unlike stocks or digital assets, rare coins cannot be printed or devalued by policy decisions. There will always be only so many 1920 quarters in existence, especially those with readable dates. And even when a coin appears very worn, certification by a trusted grading service can greatly enhance buyer confidence, which supports higher prices in auctions and dealer exchanges. For collectors looking to start or grow a collection, understanding grading and certification is essential. A coin graded by services like NGC or PGS receives a professional evaluation of its condition, assigning a grade that helps standardize value. In very dirty or heavily worn coins, the visibility of the date and major design elements becomes critical. If the date is completely worn away, the numismatic value can drop sharply. When seeking out these coins, collectors are advised to examine photos closely, ask for third-party grading reports, and, if possible, see the coin in person. Joining numismatic communities, online forums, collector groups, and local coin clubs can provide invaluable insights, help you spot genuine pieces, and keep you informed about current market trends. Beyond simple investment potential, the 1920 standing Liberty quarter carries profound cultural and historical weight. It represents an era when American coinage was meant to tell a story, to express ideals of freedom and peace in a post-war world. The imagery McNeil chose resonates even today, reminding us of a nation navigating its role on the global stage. For international collectors, American coins like this one serve as cultural artifacts, blending aesthetic design with economic history. No matter where a collector lives, there's a universal fascination with pieces that survive through decades, bearing the marks of time and human use. Ultimately, the value of a 1920 quarter, especially one in very worn, dirty condition, isn't just measured in dollars. It's intertwined with the relentless march of time, the hands that held it, the transactions it facilitated, and the history it witnessed. As numismatic interest continues to rise globally, coins like this become more than objects. They become stories etched in metal, cherished by those who value the tangible connections to our past. Whether you're drawn by aesthetic appreciation, investment potential, or the joy of collecting history in your hands, this humble quarter stands as a testament to enduring appeal and long-term value appreciation.